Welcome everybody to the 3D Printer Chat, and I'm Chris Garrett, and I'm here with Hakan, and I'm here with Miles. How are you doing, Hakan? Did I pronounce that correctly?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Everything's been good.
This is going to be fun. I'm doing this from Sweden, and I don't know. It's really late here. It's like midnight, and I think we're going to be up until 4 today. So yeah.
No matter what time of day, I think you're higher energy than me.
You're going to hear my voice. Yeah, you're going to hear it when I get tired and it's not working out anymore. Then we're going to cut the podcast, I think. Okay. I don't know.
We've got Miles. He'll carry the show. How are you doing, Miles?
Yeah.
I'm doing well. It's nice to be here with you guys. Dedication is good. Okay, so stay up all night, talk about nerdy stuff. Seems
it's
good.
Not nerdy, it's awesome. Well, nerdy is awesome.
Yeah, nerdy is awesome.
Same thing. So this show, we're going to talk about 3D printing, of course. But how did you guys get into 3D printing? How did you find your love of 3D printing?
Oh, you really want to know?
We have to know.
We really want to know.
Okay. Should I start?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. It's actually quite funny because I had so much spare time on my hands 2015, and I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to play World of Warcraft. I'm not going to sit here and play games. I need to do something. Need to do something that actually generates either passive income or something better than just playing a stupid game. So while I was playing Counter-Strike, I was thinking that maybe I could like 3D print one of these guns. And I didn't actually do it because that would just be stupid. I have kids. I would never 3D print a gun. But then I started researching about 3D printers. So I decided to gather all these bloggers that I found online and make a website, a portal for them to be on one and the same portal instead of being all spread out. A couple of them jumped on it straight off and said, this is a great idea, let's do it. And that's how I started 3D Printer Chat. From there, I started realizing that some of these people actually do this just for a short period of time when it's interesting, then they lose interest. And so I needed to find more and more people. And that's when I started searching for people that I could pay to make posts, to make articles about 3D printing. And I thought if I have a buffer on say $10,000 then I would probably get a return on my investment around 2 years from that time. So I'm still in that zone right now where I'm awaiting the return of the investment, and it's actually going really good. I'm actually back to 0 now, so I haven't lost anything on it, but I haven't gained much either. I haven't made much money on it, but right now I'm at that point where it can only grow from here. So
you saw money in it. You saw there was an opportunity there.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And I was really dumb when I started. I started out with a YouTube channel straight off. Like I thought that, okay, this is the key end, and I wanted to do YouTubes. Then I started recording my printer because I bought a One-How as my first printer.
Yeah.
So I started recording videos of me printing small things, and I couldn't edit it to be good. So I just paid other people to do the videos, and then I posted them online. And I had, I think, about 6 or 7 videos when I started getting a lot of attention on the channel and a lot of engagement in the comments. So I stopped doing those videos, seeing as people don't want to see ads or people talking about what you can find on the site. They want to see videos about the actual stuff. So I had to rethink that, and still aiming on doing a better YouTube channel, but right now my main focus is 3dprintchat.com rather than YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not actually into 3D printing. You're into the opportunity. You got excited about the
Yeah,
opportunity
but
that it presents.
that's not entirely accurate either, because during the first 2 or 3 months of doing this, that's when I bought my 3D printer as well, and then I got TiVos, and then I got some other stuff, and I became interested in 3D printing. I thought it was really exciting. I met all these new friends, and I have about 120 friends from the 3D printing community alone on Facebook, and I speak to them daily. And right now, I wouldn't give this up for anything. It's really fun to be in this community, and I learned so much, not only about 3D printing, but also about marketing and how to act in these communities. Like, at first, I think I spammed a bit too much my articles. Like every time someone made an article, I just spammed them out to 40 or 50 groups, and I never do that today. Maybe I put them out on 2-3 places on Facebook, but I don't spam one article in 40 places like I did before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's important. A lot of people are in all of the groups or in many of them, so they see the same headline over and over again.
And that's how you get banned real quick.
Yeah, real quick. And talking of banning, Miles, you're an admin of the 3D printing group, right?
Yeah, I guess that's my biggest thing I do in the community right now. Trying to keep it a nice. I don't like the term safe space because how it's been messed about with too much, but it's basically what it is. It's trying to keep the main 3D printing group, I guess on Facebook, the largest one, trying to keep it a positive space to talk about 3D printing.
And that's like 40,000 members or something right now.
I believe we hit 40. I think it's 43,000. It's ridiculous.
That's big.
It's currently 4,430. Sorry, 4,468 people.
44,000. That's big.
So that, it's crazy, and I think the group at least quadrupled since I joined. I think I joined when it was less than 10,000.
Yeah. It seems in the last 6 months, the whole 3D printing community has just exploded. It just seems to have got huge all of a sudden.
yeah,
It's gotten a lot bigger, and I've seen that change now as I've been sort of responsible for keeping it clean and keeping it engaged.
Yeah.
Like the community is big enough that we have our own memes now. That's always the best. So we have, and it's a lot of new people getting into it. It's becoming less nerdy. It's becoming less niche. It's becoming less difficult.
Yeah.
Which is really something. Like you don't need to get like a super in-depth understanding to be able to produce some good parts these days.
Yeah. But it's got cheaper
good
as well. Like the first 3D printer I ever saw was my friend Ben's, and it was a $10,000 printer. This was back in 2010, and it used sheets of plastic. It didn't use like filament spools. It used like big rolls, big sheets, and I was amazed by that. And I could never have afforded one. I don't think he could have. He got it donated to him because he was a SolidWorks expert. But now you can get a good printer for under $200. You couldn't get the stepper motors a few years ago for $200.
Yeah. Just mass production's made a lot of the components a lot cheaper. And that's why we have the what printer can I get for $300 meme.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was funny, but for anyone listening from the group, it's officially a dead meme now. So if you
it's no longer dank.
Please stop, because some people genuinely ask the question, and then some people have no idea that the meme is a thing.
Yeah.
So they just join the group and they genuinely only have $300.
Yeah.
And they say, "What printer should I get for $300?" And then they just get attacked for using the dead meme.
It does seem to be that magic number. So let's talk about magic number. What was your first printer, and how did you come to get your first printer, Miles?
Oh, you guys, you're gonna like this because this is a story. This is an actual crazy story. So my first printer was a MakerBot Replicator 2. Uh,
So already you've gone into meme territory there.
I've
People.
already, you know where this is going. There was no way I could afford this Replicator 2, but I managed to get a second-hand one off this kid with much more money than sense, who sold it to me for £900, I believe. So I like teamed up with my roommate and we both put in all our spare cash and bought this MakerBot Replicator 2. And we didn't really know anything about it. I'd only heard of 3D printing in like 2012 when my programming lecturer mentioned it offhand. He's like, "This is pretty cool." Anyway, back to programming, you know. So I looked into it. Um, that's when I started watching people on YouTube like Angus from Maker's Muse, right at the beginning of his channel. I remember when I subscribed to him, he was on like 600 subscribers or something. It was like really, really low. So I was like quite early on in his thing. And I remember the first things I watched were like from Jerry Barnacles.
Yeah.
So I thought I knew what I was doing. I didn't. Within 2 3 days, the printer started to have problems. End up, I don't know why those Rep 2 seem to break themselves. And at the time, the support in especially the UK was abysmal. Basically, MakerBot was like, if you don't live in the US, we don't care about you. Like I couldn't even get them to ship me replacement parts. They didn't have any stores that I could buy replacement parts from. So I just like learned through utter pain and failure and buying things from China and trying to replace the extruders, but not knowing that like thermistors have different values and heater cartridges have different values. So I like put on this Chinese thing that just said, oh, you know, clone freaking MakerBot clone heater. And I'm like, okay, it's cool. And then, you know, it runs too hot and destroys the printer even more. It was just a lot of learning and a lot of molten PLA being sprayed at me and me staring at it as it tried to print and all kinds of nonsense. So it was an experience. I ended up maybe 3 months later giving up on it and selling it to another guy for like £700. So
Yeah. So you didn't
I
lose
wasted a
out.
lot of money. I lost out money. I lost out time, but I learned a hell of a lot. Then
Yeah.
and you know, this is like 2014. So printing in such a short period of time has moved a lot forward, and you can get a good machine for cheap now
Yeah.
that
And
that would print better and doesn't suck.
that's the crazy thing. Like the idea of owning a 3D printer just a few years ago was just inaccessible to anybody. I went
Yeah.
to a maker fair and I was asking, you know, how much is this printer worth and where do you get them from? And it's like, oh, they're difficult to get, and you know, this is a cheap one. It's $2,500, and then just a couple of years later, the RepRap world just exploded, and suddenly you can get accessible 3D printers. My first proper 3D printer was $699, and that was considered budget. It was the Printerbot Simple Metal, and that was considered a budget printer, and it was $700, and it was finally something I could get. And now you've got printers for $99, $200. It's just
I,
absolutely
w- I
blows my
was
mind.
I will say what came out of the rap movement that was really positive is all the clones. That's a contentious statement, right? There's a lot of
Yeah.
people are really angry about that.
Yeah,
But
it's. Do you call it a clone though when it's open source hardware? You know, the
it is
proofs
it
are it's
is,
open source.
but the movement was to get people involved in the making.
Yeah,
And now a lot of people, like, what it's done is so many clones are out there that it's brought the prices way, way down. Because the problem was you could build a decent 3D printer for 400 or 500 bucks back then in the rep prep scenes. I remember considering it when the MakerBot broke down. I was like, you know what, you know, I really liked this when it worked, and I really did enjoy what little 3D printing I got out of that MakerBot for 3 4 months. But I looked into the rep project and I was like, this is too complicated for me. You know,
yeah,
I'm not from an engineering background. I've got like a software background, so I'm not a person who can just bust out a soldering iron and go to town on things, and totally cool with crimping my own connectors and rewiring everything. I'm getting better on it now, but it's something that I was definitely not comfortable with at the time. So having a thing like a Winehow i3 that I can just pull out of the box, screw one axis into another axis, and boom, I'm off.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the one how, and it sounds like all three of us have had that. It's actually still my favorite printer because I put a lot of work into getting it dialed in, and it prints beautifully now. And it's half the price of my Mark II, which is supposed to be the most popular printer right now. But it's a shame about MakerBot because they had high street stores, they had like headlines in business newspapers, not just the geeky press. They got all this investment and they went huge, and then they imploded. What happened there?
I think they used the community too much, and then when the community came to aid them in every single thing they asked for, they just turned on the community and sold out to investment.
Stratus, yeah.
And
it's not that you sold out, like it was the way that they did it. And like I said, like I remember when I had the Rep 2, I was like, guys, I'm having some problems. I bought this Rep 2. I'm having some replacement parts. Like the gantry on the Rep 2 was made of plastic, and if you had any kind of thermal runaway issue, the printer would literally just melt itself, and you could not buy that from them. And they wanted to charge me like $400 for a replacement extruder.
Didn't people have problems with the extruders as well? They were jamming and
for the fifth gen one, yeah. That whole fiasco, like all the goodwill, that was the nail in the coffin for that company in terms of what the community thought about them. Because, there was a lot of MakerBot fanboys, and rightly so. It's a really quality machine. That there are people who still swear up and down that the Rep 2 is a great machine, and it is. If you know what you're doing and if you know how to mod it and change it a little bit. Like if I knew what I knew today,
your Facebook group's actually called MakerBot, right?
Started out.
The URL still MakerBot.
That's a permanent. Yeah. It was originally a MakerBot a fan community, and then it spread to 3D printing as a whole. And a lot of the things I remember seeing right when I first joined, and this before the 5th gen came out, people were just so upset that they denied that there was a problem with the 5th generation, and then apparently a lot of people within the company knew it was going to be a problem, and they still pushed it out because they were just like money, investment. Like they just made a lot of bad decisions, but the people who made those decisions benefited from them immensely. But I think it's a good thing, because what the implosion of MakerBot showed to every other company in the space is this is how not to do it. This is how you bring ire upon yourself from the community. You never hear people talking smack about Ultimaker, for example.
Or Lulzbot. They went really far into the open source, didn't they?
It's not even that they're necessarily open source. Like the community appreciates that a lot, because I don't understand why everyone doesn't do it, because it's literally like, as a parallel to video gaming, it's like, hey, if we let people mod our games will live for longer and be better. And that's the same with 3D printers.
Yeah.
If you make your stuff open source, there's people who have like, Lulzbot AO101s, that like 4-year-old, nearly 5-year-old machine, who've got those running the latest tool heads and, super, super duper happy. That's how you can invest in a machine.
And it makes it future proof. That's my worry about Simplify 3D, actually, because of this licensing scheme. If Simplify 3D goes away, we can't use our software anymore.
Yeah, no. That is a problem.
You know that if you look back on MakerBot and their printers, I think Ultimaker 2 fell short. MakerBot was actually better than the Ultimaker 2. And you saw that especially on like... I have a friend, Daniel, and he made one of these open railway projects. And when he printed it on the MakerBot, and he actually asked the Ultimate team to like help me with this. I'm getting all these band-in issues, and I'm getting like lines small. This was not visible. If I would have posted this on a community, everyone would say it looks fucking fantastic. It looks really great. But the thing is that you could see the small lines, and with the MakerBot, it was beautiful. No lines, no nothing. And that's the thing, that people were just complaining about MakeBot all the time in 2016. It's especially in the beginning of 2016. And
People lost a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. After Stratasys bought up MakeBot, they made a bunch of bad choices and bad decisions, but the printer was actually really good. And today, MakeBot still has Thingiverse, right? They haven't sold that,
Yep.
and they're making good cash on that one. Maybe not on the printers anymore, because they went down from selling 40,000 to 1,800 by 2016. So
Yeah, it seems to be Prusa's world right now. He can't keep up with the success of the Prusa Mark II and now the Mark IIs. So it seems like Mr. Joseph is taking the mantle.
yeah, but he's making great printers. So
Yeah,
He's got a really good printer, and he's been there since the RepRap days, so he's really got into the design of it. But
yeah,
I give you a reason why I think Prusa is doing as well as he is. It's because he has the right mindset. Like, I'm willing to pay for mindset, and I think a lot of the serious people in the community are also willing to pay for a company mindset.
yeah.
Like, we all know that the Mark II is a bit too pricey.
I don't know. I think it's the right price because it's been so successful.
It's still a good price. It's still a very good price. For what it is, it's still a very, very good price. But when you look at an i3, it's more than double most good kits you can find.
But it's cheaper than a Lowspot, right?
It's cheaper than a Lowspot. It's cheaper than Lowspot. It's cheaper than the Ultimaker. It's cheaper than a Craftbot. All great machines. So much that he can't produce them fast enough. His printers have been on backlog for over a year. There's a good reason for it. But I think the thing that makes the Prusa Mark II so worth it is the mindset in which the company follows. Like, for example, when they had the Mark 1, they sold and still sell an upgrade kit to the Mark II.
Yeah. And there was an upgrade kit from 3mm filament, wasn't there? You could go from 3mm to 175.
And he's engaging with the community. Like, I don't understand how he has time. He's a very busy man. He's flying all over the world. He's got, over 100 people at his company now. He's gone from a guy in the RepRap forum to basically one of the biggest. It's really hard to call Prusa Research a startup anymore. It's a force to be reckoned with, and it's because of his mindset. His printer is great, but I think the mindset is what really
and he's engaged in the community, and I think that's something that really stands out with him. Is he goes and meets the community and is in the forums. He's answering questions, and it's not American and it's not Chinese, which makes it stand out as well. I mean,
it's Polish, right?
Czechoslovakian, right?
Czech.
Czech.
It's Czech.
Sorry, Czech. Yeah.
Well,
he's really an island, and you got Ultimaker in the Netherlands, Prusa Research in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess BCN 3D down in Spain.
Yeah, Lowspot is in Colorado. One House Chinese, TiVo's Chinese, Creatorly is Chinese.
Oh, I was just thinking about what you said before, Miles. The thing with Prusa is they have out leveling from start as well, and most of these other printers don't have that. That's half the price you were referring to. So we need to remember that he's using E3D V6 full and firmware. Everything is like perfect.
He's using quality stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it should last longer because of that. I mean, now they've moved from zip ties to having the stuff properly bolted down. And the zip ties I really didn't understand, but everything else is really sturdy in quality and it should last. And that's what I've been saying about the CR10. A lot of people have been saying, should I get the Prusa, should I get the CR10? Can get a CR10 today, it's got a bigger bed. And I say, well, I don't know if it'll last as long because it's all AliExpress quality parts, whereas the Prusa, it's all branded parts. It's a proper Rambo, it's proper E3D, it's all good quality stuff. But we should talk about that in the next episode where we talk about buying a printer, I think. Today, we're just talking about a little bit of history and how we got into it. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode. We've come up to our time limit. We're trying to keep them below 30 minutes. Please like us and review us on iTunes and give us some encouragement and some feedback. Please keep it nice.
Send good memes.
Yeah, good memes.
I want more 3D printing memes.
Exactly. So send those to Miles.
I don't want any memes.
Yeah.
Just saying. So don't send me.
I would gladly take Hakan.
Yeah. Keep it clean if you're sending something to me, but that's not safe for work for Miles as possible. That's great. So we'll see you next episode, and thank you for listening.
Bye.